All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Dave DuFour once again. John Burr's schedule for the second week in a row did not work out. By the way, if you're missing John Burr, go over to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. We got an episode up with John and myself over there for the Patreon supporters. But Dave, welcome to the show once again. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm not a Golden State Warriors fan, so life is good.
Yeah, I think they're spiraling. What do we say? They're spiraling.
The ship is sinking. The Titanic has struck the iceberg.
Yeah.
There aren't enough life rafts.
I thought they
the door's not big enough for two people.
I thought they excised the cancer with Jordan Poole, Dave. I thought, like they bring in Chris Paul. You know who the biggest loser?
Now, hold on.
In this whole situation?
Like, being the guy who gets punched and called a cancer is the funniest thing I can imagine.
I'm just going with the way Steve Kerr presented it to me.
So funny.
No, the biggest loser. Who's the biggest loser here? It's Chris Paul, who has this lifetime achievement award of every team he joins, the record gets better. It might sink. At the very least, the Suns' record's going to get worse. So that worked out. It's always the team he leaves has a worse record. And then the team he goes to gets a better record. This is based on the previous season's record. So I think the Suns one, that's possible, maybe probable that it's going to end up with the worst records of the previous year. But yeah, Chris Paul's magic touch, maybe it's worn off. Yeah, tough things. How would you rank, before we get to our breakfast, I don't want to get lightheaded with no breakfast talk. But Dave, before we get to our breakfast talk, how would you rank the issues with the Warriors? Like, what is is it just Draymond? Is it just Father Time? How are we ranking?
Yeah.
How are we ranking the problems?
Oh man. Well, Steph Curry's not the problem.
Steph Curry, not the problem.
Right? Not the problem. Like, this guy is still playing like a top 5 player. I think that there's a few things, and they all kind of work together, because you can point to Wiggins. Wiggins is no longer this top 5 two-way guy.
Wiggins is terrible. That's a huge one for me.
He's awful.
Yeah.
But Wiggins being awful makes Klay way worse, because Klay has had a significant drop off in athleticism, and the guy he came off back-to-back catastrophic injuries somehow, just through, I don't know whether it's force of will or whatever, looked pretty good, especially during the title run, and then just fell off a cliff. But part of that is because Wiggins isn't as effective. So they don't have to guard Wiggins the same way. Looney has kind of jumped off of.
Are we blaming Looney?
Not a cliff, but he's fallen off a balcony at least. Looney's not been good. And then, they already had issues because you had to play Looney and you had to play Draymond together because you needed Looney's rebounding, but your offense had, greater problems because of it. And now that Looney is not nearly as effective, also can't switch anymore. Like, he's not as effective as a defender this season. All of these things have coalesced to create a problem that Draymond Green has decided he has to try to punch his way out of. I mean, Steve Kerr not really doing them any favors for the last few years as far as playing young guys like Moody and Kuminga, who clearly have been NBA players who needed reps. It's not just it's hard to tier list them.
So it's not, it's not, okay. It's not
everything combined.
It's not ownership. They're still writing the checks. I mean,
now here's the thing. They weren't writing the checks though. Ownership kind of created the start of this cascade. The James Wiseman pick just looms large over the franchise, the whole 2 timelines thing, because they weren't able to restock and reload. And I know that they want to tell after the James Wiseman trade, but it's more about right now when the drop off started, unless it's we got that extra ring and that's it, we're good. And that's the mindset that ownership had, which I doubt. This has been a failure that ownership also has to take some ownership of.
Yeah.
Everyone's at fault except for Steph Curry.
It's not Bob
He's
Myers'
an
fault.
angel.
Bob Myers, man, canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
What a
Hey,
guy.
wow. Yeah, he's been funny on TV, right?
He got out of there. Is he? I'll have to take your
Yeah.
word for it. I haven't seen him on
I
TV.
mean, funny on TV in that they are absolutely roasting him and he's just allowing himself to get roasted. I mean, Charles Barkley, probably had the best joke of the weekend where, he's told Bob Myers that all the Warriors people are going to be joining him soon.
It's true. It's true. They can start their own show.
Yeah, this is but this is how things happen, right? Like dynasties just they crumble.
Yeah.
They crumble. And it's just weird to watch it with Steph Curry still playing like this.
Yeah, it's like I'll be real, I'm enjoying it. My Warriors relationship it took a turn in 2022. It took a little bit of a turn. And I used to just love Steph Curry. I'm still a fan, but like no love lost between me and Draymond. No love lost between me and Klay Thompson. No love lost between me and Steve Kerr, who continues defending his players' actions. Like
now, he didn't see the replay. He didn't see the replay.
He's straight faced
replay
in the post game. So like after the Gobert thing, he like sort of said he didn't see the replay, but he also sort of defended the Gobert headlock. This one, he jumped straight to, oh, I haven't seen the video. I haven't seen the replay. Liar.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Liar. I
mean, your job when you're coaching the game, you need to know because they're going to the review.
It's an in-game review.
No way he didn't see it right.
This is like, all right, I didn't see the replay is block charge call where there was no challenge involved. A cheap shot that wasn't reviewed in the moment. Like you go back and say, hey, they're saying that he got thrown out for this or whatever, or like this, what it was called. This was a play that was reviewed in the game to find out whether or not it met the criteria for a flagrant 2. Like he saw it. There's no way not. Like he
saw it.
I mean, we're talking, he would have had to like cover his ears and eyes. He would have been like me in the movie theater when like a movie trailer comes on for a film I know I'm going to see. And I'm like, la, 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 like
someone has done the investigation on this and gone and said, hey, wait a second. Look, here he is looking at the replay. That's the world we live in. I guarantee it's out there. There's no way he didn't see it before the press conference last night. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Just not, I can't believe it.
I blame Draymond. Locker room culture setter. 2, I blame whatever's happened to Andrew Wiggins and his body and mind and basketball ability.
Unless he's injured in a way that still allows him to play, and we're just seeing a diminished. I don't think it's that, man. This looks like he moved back to Minnesota.
I don't know, like Draymond and Andrew don't seem that interested in playing basketball anymore. Maybe they're good. Maybe they're just like, life is good, man. Life's too short to be putting this much energy into basketball.
I get it, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, I get it. You're rich.
They got so much money.
You're young and healthy and got a ton of money. Yeah. Like, okay.
We've talked about this. If I was one of these guys coming up, I don't know if I'd sign that second rookie contract, man. That first one is a lot of money. I probably would just say, all right, I'm going to.
Who's that quarterback? Jake Plummer. You remember Jake the Snake?
Yeah.
Jake Plummer, who retired sort of early, not actual early, but like he just went and wanted to play handball. He made a lot of money, just wanted to go live on a farm and play handball all day.
Yeah. I mean, that's more of my style. But I'm pretty sure, I feel like he had some injury stuff.
I think he became one of the world's best handball players. That's all I know.
Yeah, okay, but he's American and we're not good at handball. It's unfortunate. It's actually something, it is a pet peeve of mine. We have the world's, we have the largest collection of athletes on the planet. And because we're such a huge country and we have limitless money for frivolous things, and our handball team stinks. What?
Let's
Doesn't
commit
make any
some
sense.
we need
Look,
a
hey, I've been campaigning for about a decade now, privately to take over USA handball, because my plan would be to recruit our best Division I basketball players who aren't going to go play pro anywhere, and instead of them going and being, opening a car dealership or becoming realtors, let them do something useful and go fight for their country playing handball. That's
I
what
was
I
trying
want.
to convince, I think back in the day I had Brandon Wright on the show. And I was convincing him maybe he should look into that. I was like, we're going to need somebody at the Olympics.
Man, Kyrie Irving would be the greatest handballer ever.
What if, like, the Adelson family, instead of buying out Mark Cuban, just decided to put the resources needed into making America great at handball?
I would probably be out on hand. I would not want to participate.
now you've lost it.
I'm okay.
Your patriotism has a line, and
yes.
we've hit it and crossed it.
Yeah, my patriotism doesn't cross over into nationalism.
Well, I mean, you have to have some nationalistic fervor to care about the U.S. handball team.
No, I mean, I would say this. It's not that I care about USA handball. It's more like,
you wish there were a privately run handball league.
It really would just kind of track with my life. One of the more random things I could possibly do.
What's Dave doing? Oh, he started that handball league.
Yeah, he's the president of USA Handball for some reason.
Man.
And coaching.
This is easily the most times I've said a handball in a 5-minute span of my entire life.
Sean Keenan and I, we're gonna fire up the old handball rock here.
Oh, that'll be so good. Dave, you don't really eat breakfast. What's the last meal you had? How about that?
Oh, you know what, man? Well, do you like Spam?
It's okay. Growing up not from means, any protein in a can was a delight.
Right.
So like like Vienna sausages, I love them. Okay. Spam didn't have it as much.
Potted meat guy?
Again, not as much, but literally any protein in a can I have a fondness towards.
Well, I'm a big sardine guy, so I also like
sardines are incredible. This is a new thing in my life. This is I would say this is like, as my wife and I have grown more financially comfortable, we start like learning about maybe some of the finer things in life. I feel like sardines are on that. And honestly, sardines are cheap, but like they're amazing. I love sardines
and versatile. So my thing about sardines, like you throw them into just a green salad. It's good. You could put them into a soup. I mean, it's just, they're super versatile. Anyway, so been on a spam and eggs kick. A couple of nights ago, I did a spam and egg ramen.
Yes, sir.
And so last night I did a spicy spam and egg fried rice. So very good.
That sounds so good. That's an amazing breakfast.
Yeah, it ruled. It would be a great breakfast, but I ate it, for dinner last night. So
it's still
the old
breakfast,
good old reliable black coffee for breakfast, though. What about you? What'd you have? Did you have kind of one of this
no
cereals?
No sugar cereals. I did take the kids to the doctor this morning.
Oh,
took both kids at the same time. Had the well child annual checkup or whatever. I did feel embarrassed that my 9-year-old basically, like, the doctor's asking us like, oh, what kind of foods do y'all eat? And I'm just letting them answer. I'm not speaking up because normally I'm like, oh yeah, we've got a lot of greens, a lot of green beans and salads and kale, spinach. They can't get enough broccoli. But they don't eat that many green beans or green vegetables at all. But they also were like, what kind of breakfast do you eat? And they're like, and my son was like, I had chocolate checks. And then she's like, oh, that's what's all over your lips. Like, yeah, looks freaking gross. Here at the doctor with like my son with like just chocolate caked on his gross chapped 9-year-old lips. There's nothing more disgusting than like a 9-year-old boy. Like they just look horrible. I can say that because he'll never hear this.
A little too clean.
Okay. They're just all gangly and weird looking, and they're always sniffling. And then they're always just like, they got like stuff in it. They can't. We're like, chew with your mouth shut, man. And then, I don't know. The doctor was good. We had to get What?
So everybody's good. Everybody's
Yeah, it's
okay.
fine. Just a well
Even
child
with the
checkup.
poor diet.
No, yeah,
Okay.
we got the normal, I mean, the boy is like not even on the body mass index curve. He's below it, which is where I lived my whole life. So like
Yeah.
he needs chocolate checks. Okay, doctor. Like we're bulking him up.
He needs my cereal protein.
That's right.
The Ghost Nutrition
Um,
cereal way. It's
they did
delicious.
have to get shots,
Shout
which
out
was
to them.
which was
Sponsor me.
kind of distressing especially for the 6-year-old. We had the nurse give it.
Do you have an anti-vax 6-year-old or
No, just anti needle.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. She does her own research and she's come up with a lot of
She's
interesting
been watching a lot of YouTube
opinions.
Huh?
She's a big Aaron Rodgers guy. No,
so they had to get some shots.
They had to get real shots, and I gotta say, of all the nurses I've seen give children shots, this one delivered it more like, you remember the needle in Star Wars when like Princess Leia is like trapped and there's like that needle going, whoa, 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 and it keeps coming towards the camera. She was like, okay, here's the needle. It's pretty big, huh? It's pretty big.
Oh,
and I was like, you're just supposed to jam this in. Like you're supposed to distract and bang.
Needle.
Yeah, like I don't know. I thought her technique was not the most subtle. You're supposed to like, it's like, listen, you're supposed to do a quick, like if you're Draymond, you're supposed to do a quick elbow to the nuts. All right, those have been basically you've gotten those out of the league because of instant replay and HD cameras. It's not as easy to be a dirty player anymore. Right. You're supposed to do something swift, low. You want to keep your elbows and arms near to your body. Mm-hmm. What you don't do, Dave, is flail around 180 degrees with a roundhouse haymaker that everyone sees that connects in the guy's face. So again, I thought the nurse could have been a little more like, hey, look at that balloon outside. Wham! But it was a very much like, here it comes. And it was a little traumatic briefly, but then they recovered.
I've only ever had good nurse experiences, so I've been very lucky.
It sounds like a
very lucky.
After dark with Dave.
Blood drawn. The place I go to get I get blood work done on a fairly consistent basis because I like to know what's happening with my body. Yeah. And man, there's like a 60-year-old lady there that I don't even know when the needle goes in.
You're supposed to slide it in. You're supposed to talk it, slide it. Like I get freaked out by like blood and stuff. You're supposed to surprise me.
Well, and also now with a blood draw needle, it's different than an injection.
Surprise me.
Injection you can surprise. The other one, you got to sit there. You got to be ready.
You got to sit there for a while. You're not going to be surprised the whole time.
But also a good look. If you're getting a vaccine or whatever kind of shot you're getting, a good little pinch of the muscle and fat or whatever, just to take away some of the sensation from the skin is also kind of the key. So you need to sneak in, but you also want a little bit of that sort of pinch. And then they get it in there and then they rub it in. It's all good. Yeah. You just pain dissipation, it's easy.
Anyways, that all came from what was
in case you guys ever have to inject someone with something. That
came from what was my breakfast. So I had to run out the door, had coffee. I came home pretty hungry. I just ate some leftover white rice, plain white rice. Do what?
Just plain.
Yeah, it was. So here's what I add to it. This is
rice in a rice cooker.
This is also
pot on the
just stove? In a pot on the stove. This is also leftover from my childhood, much like any potted meat, canned meat, anything is just a treat for me. When I was a kid, again, not from means, just eating plain rice, I put Worcestershire sauce on there. And that's what I like. And that for me is like a homey reminder of childhood. I will eat this in a pinch and I think it's delicious. And so that's still, so that's what
it's funny because you eat a lot of rice. You should maybe get like a Yoshijiri like rice cooker, like a little $30 rice cooker. I have a big one. I eat a lot of rice, right? I meal prep for myself. And I get my money's worth out of it like very easily. And for you, because you guys, you got kids, you should get one, man. It's so nice to be able to just wash your rice, put it in there, set it, and not think about it versus cooking on a stove.
Well, I'll consider it.
Now, I'm just selling brands today. That's
you could. It's Christmas coming up, and you could just maybe reach out.
Hey,
do you need my address?
That's Fastbreak Breakfast at gmail.com. Is that the
Well, no, now all the weirdos are gonna.
We don't have like you need a gift registry for the podcast.
It's patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Just send your pledges. Send your pledges. By the way, here's the best thing that happened to me pre steak and eggs time. We have a new Patreon supporter.
Oh.
We have a few, but specifically David Bacon. I love it when a food name joins the Patreon. Thank you.
I was
Bacon joining the show.
I was like, am I supposed to know who David Bacon
No,
is?
also,
I mean, listen, man, I'm out of touch. So also
thank you to Dak Daniels. Also, thank you to Mike Sheehy. Also, thank you to Chip Crane. Also, thank you to Joseph Crane. I appreciate your support, but it's mainly Mr. Bacon I'm most excited about.
Are these brothers, the Crane brothers?
I feel like the Crane brothers have joined up. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, a couple guys named Crane.
Bringing families together.
Bringing family together. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed. Apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. I'll apologize for us, Dave.
Well, I've got one too, but
do you? Oh, great. Okay, this is good.
It's not a previous episode, but I'll make an apology.
Well, what's the thing you'd like to make right in the world?
Oh, well, I mean, I was so wrong about Chet Holmgren, and not like I thought he was going to be a bust, but this has been eating me up. And you know, we've been kind of stuck on in-season tournament talk, and the Thunder haven't been in there, but
we have.
Have you watched much Oklahoma City Thunder?
Not as much as I would like to. That's the
really
for
good.
Whatever reason. Maybe it's because they're in the crowded central time zone when all the other games are going on, when my Grizzlies are playing. I don't see as much Thunder as I wish I did.
They're really good. And I had them pegged as like a 500 team this year. I didn't think they had a leap in them. And part of that was because I was assuming Chet was going to have, all right, it's going to be more of a normal rookie year, even though he had the year with the team. Maybe he's, Ben Simmons good rookie year. Man, he's been excellent, and he's been their second best player on a team that is very clearly a playoff team, like a top six and maybe even a home court advantage team when you could just consider their consistency so far through the first quarter. So I was off on Oklahoma City, and it's because directly I was way off on Chet Holmgren. I didn't think he'd be this good, maybe at all, but definitely not this fast. I mean, he's just... I don't know. I haven't run into
I think when we were projecting the Thunder, we were like, all right, they were a very good competitive team last year. Maybe not very good, but like they were a good competitive team last year. We assume they're going to make a leap. Jalen Williams was so good his rookie season. He's probably going to step up. And we think they're starting to round the curve. We're like, all right, now they're going to start maybe going for it a little bit more. They're going to become a consistent playoff team. And also, by the way, they're getting Chet Holmgren, who was out last year. And if he can just be that player in the middle, that'll be huge for them. And I do think he's kind of exceeded all expectations, where he's like, oh my goodness, he's amazing. Like, he's just amazing. I mean, I talked about this on a recent episode where it's like, he's a 50, 40, 90 guy. That's not fair.
No,
that's not fair for your 7'2" or however tall he is center rookie.
How did the Thunder get Kevin Durant again?
Yeah. And so, no, he's amazing. And yeah, I gotta make
my apology. Being wrong.
I gotta make appointment viewing to make sure I get more Thunder games. Also, Chet's gonna win Rookie of the Year because of what's going on in San Antonio.
Oh.
Sorry, he's
The Spurs are too bad.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. My apology.
My best
is my apology is I floated a couple of conspiracy theories last week with you, Dave, and unfortunately, both of them were shot down. I feel very sad about this. I thought maybe Jake LaRavia wasn't actually hurt for the Grizzlies. He was just maybe faking an injury so they could use a hardship exception. Well, it turns out they didn't need him to be hurt to sign Jalen Noel. They needed him if they wanted Shaq Harrison again, but they let Shaq Harrison go. So they did not it's a tradition among most teams to let Shaq Harrison go. The Grizzlies did not need Jake LaRavia to fake an injury in order to keep Jalen Noel on his 10-day contract. So that one was shot down. Also, I had a big conspiracy theory about the in-season tournament where I was like, they needed one road and one road team to win in the quarterfinals, because if they didn't, that would mean It would mess up the schedule. It would mean some teams would end up with 42 home games and some teams would end up with 40 home games. You're all supposed to have 41. And my thought was, season ticket holders have already paid for this, and ain't nobody in the NBA wants to be issuing refunds. My understanding is season ticket holders had not already paid for this, that season ticket packages were just 40 games this year. And then you have this extra game that happened. And so I, in my fervor to maybe blame this room full of, I still feel like the X-Files, the cigar smoke-filled room guys who are running the world, actually.
NWO, look, the NWO,
yeah,
you know, they're not at fault here. They thought this one through.
They thought it through. So those conspiracies were unfortunately faulty. And that's my apology. Anyways, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, just a word from Underdog Fantasy. If you want to play some daily fantasy for cash, if you want to do season-long best ball, if you want to do higher or lowers, you can do it all at Underdog Fantasy. It's become a fun part of my daily NBA routine. And the best part is, if you use promo code FBBF when you sign up, you get a free $100, or they'll match your opening deposit up to $100. And by the way, if you live in Tennessee or also Alaska, Mississippi, and Alabama, they will match your opening deposit up to $500 as they celebrate the legalization of the higher or lower games in those states. So if you want to play fantasy sports for a little bit of cash, do it responsibly, do it at Underdog Fantasy, and use that promo code FBBF, or click the link in this episode's description. All right, Dave.
Please do it responsibly.
I'm cutting that out. All right, Dave, steak and eggs best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? You teased it. You said this is Spurs related?
Well, listen, man, we are witnessing history in the
that we are.
The just history of ineptitude. The San Antonio Spurs have lost 17 in a row. The Detroit Pistons have lost 20 in a row.
Amazing.
They are not going to win a game for the rest of this year. That would put the Detroit Pistons at 9 total wins for 2023. They are 2-21.
Yeah.
They have a great shot of setting the all-time NBA record for most losses in a row. It's only 26 games.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously
this is
80% of the way there.
I felt like OKC was hammered a bit, you know, for their tank job.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty quick, the turnaround. When
it was.
You consider the time between trading Russ and, you know, basically flipping it around after the SGA trade and him getting healthy really was kind of the big thing. Detroit and what they're doing is soiling the sport. There's no direction. The players look worse today than they did game one somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That's not typical. They added a competent NBA player back in there and they still look awful. The coach his messaging after games is all over the place. At least with the Spurs, you're not hearing anything wild from Pop. Like part of it is the Spurs. They're not obsessed with being good this year. Like that's not a team that was really trying to come out and do anything. They're just playing around with their parts, seeing what they've got. Detroit was supposed to be trying to make the play in this year. I mean, this is supposed to be a team that at the very least saw young players start to make improvements and develop. Hadn't happened. And the coach is directly getting in the way of that. It is an unmitigated disaster that I can't stop watching. They are one of the worst basketball teams I've ever seen.
The thing I don't get about the whole Pistons situation is I don't understand how they're so bad. Like when I look at their talent, when I look at their roster on their team, I'm like, this should not be a hopeless 20-game losing streak situation. I mean, maybe the young guys just aren't good, but coming into the year, it was like, all right, you got Cade, you got Asar Thompson, you got Jalen Duren, and then you've surrounded them with guys who can play basketball. I know they've been out, like maybe Monte Morris would make a huge difference, but it was like they have Bojan Bogdanovic, who's fine. They have Isaiah Stewart, who's fine. You have all these guys who are fine. I don't think you're going to make the play in, but like 2-21. I don't know how they're doing it. They have upcoming this week. They have to play the Sixers twice in a row. All right, that could get them to 22 losses. They have to play the Bucks, be 23.
The issue here, Keith, is that this is now like it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Their confidence is shot. It doesn't seem like they've got buy-in. Like they're not buying into whatever Monty Williams is selling.
So 4 games from now, Dave, it's Jazz.
Other teams are now getting up for the Pistons.
Yeah, it's true.
You do not want to be the team that the Pistons beat. The Wizards, the Pistons they had no answer for Kyle Kuzma, Keith. No answer.
The Wizards and Grizzlies killed the Pistons.
Just destroyed them.
And the Grizzlies are horrible. And the Wizards are horrible. Also, so Dave,
so you think Utah, what game is that? 26, 27?
That'll possibly be, it's 5 games from now. So if they make it to 24 losses, Utah doesn't have guards. They're not really seem to be.
They did just call up Bryce Sensabaugh.
They don't seem to be in any rush to get their guys back and play the guys. After that could be tough. So the Spurs have lost 17 straight, and I just think the big takeaway is we now have the first ever concurrent 17 game or more losses going on in the NBA. It's just, you got to sit back and just be in awe of the Popovich coaching tree. It's just, and look, the apple did not fall far is how that phrase goes.
So unfortunately, the Spurs may have a shot against the Lakers tonight. LeBron and AD and Jared Vanderbilt are all.
That's only Lakers only favored by 1.5
on the road. And if those guys sit, I mean, listen, man, that's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of Christian Wood. And I don't know if you've seen Christian Wood, but he sucks. Honestly, they should just trade him back to the Pistons. He'd fit right in. So if they got a shot to beat the Lakers if those guys don't play. I mean, that's kind of how the NBA is. But the Pistons, on the other hand, the Pistons are hopeless. The Spurs, at least, it's like, oh no, they're going to be pretty good eventually because Wembanyama is good. The team sucks, but Wembanyama has been pretty good, productive.
Yeah, he's putting up he's having his 8 block games and all this. He's amazing. So here's
over 5 games with 5 blocks.
Here's my best thing.
20 and 10.
Real quick, my best thing. Couple of Bulls statistical achievements. First of all, Andre Drummond picked up 11 offensive rebounds in 14 minutes. No one's ever done that before. As long as we've tracked those stats. Outstanding offensive rebounding work from Andre Drummond. Also, we have to recognize, I mean, this is basically a fast break breakfast special. Ayo Dosunmu. Basically, he went the full Tony Snell. He went 26 minutes with nothing. 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. The only better performances with no stats, with more playing time, was the Tony Snell game. He did 28 minutes, and then Joel Anthony did 29 minutes back in 2011. So amazing. That's my best thing. The opposite of my best thing, Dave, my cream of wheat worst thing. Do we need to say more about Draymond? I mean, how many games, Dave?
Well, now this is Keith. This is very interesting because I know we'll probably talk about Ja Morant, but don't we sort of get into Ja Morant territory here at a certain point? This happens between the lines. Okay. So we all tend to just not look at it like it would if it happened,
You're saying if Ja Morant had a gun on the court, it would have been a little easier. That's between the lines.
Right.
No,
I
kid.
But if Draymond does what he just did, like
in a practice, like in a closed practice, right. if he punched somebody, it would have been worse. I don't know what rules apply to Draymond.
This was on national TV in a marquee game. That to me feels like conduct detrimental. The guy he's been ejected from 20% of the games that he's played in this year. He was also
that's incredible
for 5.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It feels to me like if we're, they took his record into account with the last suspension, right?
He got 5 games for the chokehold,
For this
the headlock. I thought
on
that was
Rudy.
light. I thought maybe 8 would have
Same.
been more like it.
Same. Now, I'm not. My preference is don't suspend anybody, but you've set the precedent, and now it has become a part of the competitive part of the NBA. You can't have one set of rules for one team and a different set of rules for somebody else. So I think it has to escalate. The suspension needs to escalate. I think it's probably got to get to 10 games for everybody to feel like, okay, the league is actually treating Draymond just like everybody else. If not, I don't know what does Draymond care if he misses 5 games? I just don't like if the Warriors are going to be good, they can withstand him missing 5 games. Now I think they suck and they're not going to be good, but
Yeah.
I think it's got to be 10 games, and it sucks because it's not like he's washed. He's not washed. He's washed here.
Well, I mean, he also fouled your guy Chet on that 3-pointer. Like it was another blown Warriors game. All right, so let's start here. Let's just say Chet Holmgren. If Chet Holmgren, with no disciplinary history in the NBA, if Chet Holmgren did that, is it 1 game? He gets a flagrant 2, ejected, and does he get a 1-game suspension, or does he get any game suspension? He gets 1? I think probably 1. You can't, first of all, I say this all the time. Like, these guys know where their limbs are going.
Yeah.
You don't accidentally Draymond apologized.
There's no world that was a rule.
Draymond apologized and then said he didn't mean to hit him in the face. That undid his apology. Saying it was an accident undoes, or like that for me, that erases your apology. Like, no, you hit him in the face. You swung around. You know his head's going to be there. Did you think he would duck? Like, maybe say, I thought he would duck.
Well, my assumption is he's going to use some sort of a swim move as an excuse, like it's football. Number one, I was shocked when I went and saw the immediate replay at how the lack of physicality from Nurk.
Nurk
had a hand on his hip.
Nurk doesn't play defense.
He's not pressuring him. He's not grabbing him like Draymond does. I mean, the previous play to this, Bradley Beal had a BS foul called on him trying to get it around a Draymond screen, where Draymond Green sets up like Tom Rathman in the old 49ers and just delivers like a shove block into Beal's chest and then moves with him laterally. Somehow Bill gets called for a foul here. This is, again, the NBA referees have, the NBA's lost the plot on this stuff. And then the next play, after getting that call, Draymond decides to just club Nurkic in the face. I don't know, man. I just, it's tiresome. It's tiresome. And if you're his team, there's no way you go back and watch that film and say, man, okay, we were about to blow this one open and pick up a win we really needed until you did this. And now it's over.
Here's a couple of interesting, I think, comparisons between like what Ja and Draymond did are very different, but we're also we're also talking about like, this is how the league is meting out punishment. One big difference between the two situations is my impression is the Grizzlies wanted the league to punish Ja Morant. The Warriors do not seem to have this desire to like, hey, could you do this for us? I mean, they didn't do anything. They fined him, for the Jordan Poole punch. So there's that difference. I think one of the main keys is, did Draymond tell Adam Silver he would stop it? Because that's as far as I can understand Ja Morant's second situation, the way we've all interpreted it is, well, but he told the commissioner he's not going to do it anymore. And Adam Silver's now embarrassed. And Ja's a star. And he did this unsavory thing that was not illegal, but was unsavory. And they decided was against the conduct that it's not befitting a star and is, quote unquote, detrimental to the league. And so he got suspended 25 games. It killed the Grizzlies season.
It's crazy to me that the excuses we make for people who are good at sports when they do stuff like what Draymond did, right? It It is not a basketball move.
No.
There's no world in which you can tell me you didn't throw that at his head.
Yeah.
It served no purpose in the game. I can't figure out even why you would have escalated to that point. Like, because it really is 0 to 60. There was nothing in the previous play between him and Nurk. Nurk wasn't overly physical. Again, he doesn't play defense. He had a hand on his hip. Totally normal when a guy is trying to get sort of a posted position like Draymond was. It was early. As soon as the ball is inbounded away from Draymond. Here's the other thing. I'm starting to talk myself into some sort of premeditation here, because as soon as the ball's passed in up top, he makes that move. It's either he's trying to get away with it. Hey, the referees aren't going to look, and I can knock this dude out and just keep on moving.
You can't. There's nowhere to hide anymore. Big Brother's watching.
I guess
we got synergy tracking all your punches.
I guess. Hey, he's like an old school politician that can't adjust to the new.
He can't adjust to the new time. What do you mean? I can't give you a briefcase full of cash. What?
I can't lie to your face because you watched the other thing where
That's
I lied
right.
to your face.
What's especially weird about this Draymond ejection is Steph Curry was playing in the game. He normally only gets ejected when Steph's not playing. No, if the league tries to be consistent with this, like we're adding punishment based on your repeat offenses, like the headlock thing. Let's say they added on a couple of games because of the pattern. Like, hey, you stopped
2 to 5.
You stopped Sabonis just not that long ago, and you have a history of these flagrant fouls and getting ejected. I would think you would add a couple more onto that. So I honestly feel like it should be like 7 or 8. Like I feel like the act on its own is like a 1 game. But I do feel like it needs to be more based on the precedent the league has set.
I don't know. I mean, he threw a punch. I got a big problem with throwing a punch at a guy in a basketball game.
Yeah.
I mean, it could, and I've been punched a lot. I'll just say that. I've been punched in the face a lot, and it's dangerous. And so he could have altered his life with that. And I don't want to be dramatic about it.
Like Kermit Washington style, but Tom Janovich punch. Yeah.
Truthfully, could have dramatically altered his life with that punch. And yeah, it's not textbook. Draymond Green probably doesn't know how to throw whatever that tornado punch he was trying to throw.
Oh man.
I mean, like he could have broken his jaw easily. He could have like done some like a concussion sort of damage. I mean, it's dangerous as hell. And so I'm not a person that's into punishment. I think it's kind of dumb. All these guys should think more about the human beings around them. You shouldn't have to have the rod to keep them in, like, from being absolute psychopaths. But I think in this instance, like, it's proven that you can't get through to him, so you got to just keep hammering it home. I think 10 games makes a lot of sense.
I don't think it's going to be 10 games. I think it's going to be like 3. I think it's going to be a thing where I think they're going to reverse course. They're going to back off the ledge.
We're going to take in your history into account, and we're going to give you fewer games because
I think the act on its own is probably worth like 1 game to a guy who has no history, but I don't think the NBA has, I'll say, the stones to like come down hard on Draymond Green. Like, I don't know why that is. Maybe I'll be wrong. But I think it's gonna be that much.
I mean, look, Nikola Jokic.
Let's talk about Jokic. Yeah, you have to get out of here in a few minutes. So before you leave, let's talk about my worst thing, which is Nikola Jokic being ejected on what is a Serbian Heritage Night at the Chicago Bulls game. The 2-time MVP says, "Call the foul, MFer." And gets thrown out immediate. And maybe the worst angle of this for me is I feel like I used to have an identity, Dave. I used to be the ref guy. I used to be like, you guys don't get it. They're just enforcing the rules. They're not bad people. It's the rules that are the problem. But this year has been trying on me. I mean, maybe I can excuse all these hanging on the rim techs. I'm just saying, like, that has to be the way the owners and the competition committee has said that is what we want called a technical foul. We can't have the hint of a chin up. Otherwise, somebody might try to spin around and punch a guy. They're saying we can't have a hint of a chin up on a dunk technical foul. So I'm like, all right, it's a rules problem, not a ref problem. But I can't get over throwing out the stars of the game for, as the NBA rulebook says, cursing and blaspheming.
Blasphemy. Hey, listen, man. I've got experience as a basketball coach, and part of that job is you've got to ref scrimmages. I've been MF'd by a 15-year-old girl over a call.
Yeah.
This is a part of basketball. Like referees, you are the enemy to every single other person on the court. It means you got to have a thick skin, right? These are competitors at the highest level making a ton of money. There's a lot on the line. And it happened to be, Serbian Heritage Night, which is just a extra little to the fans, from the referee. But man, you got to have thick skin. It's not about you. No one has ever bought a ticket to see a single referee. I am sorry. We could replace every single referee in the NBA and no one would notice.
No, it's not. That is not. See, now pro ref guy in me rises up.
Listen, I have said for years.
Did you see Richard Jefferson try to do it?
Worse. Yeah. Okay. But he did one game. You can't take novices. All right. You got to take people who know how to referee a game.
Yeah.
But I've been saying this since I started covering the league. Look, I didn't know who these guys were. I mean, I just watched basketball. I still can't name most of them because I refuse. And the ones that I do know, it actually makes me mad because I shouldn't know your name. I shouldn't know your tendencies as a referee. I shouldn't know if you've got beef with a player. I shouldn't know you exist. You should be nameless, faceless. You should maybe wear a mask. I shouldn't have any idea that you have any emotion.
Oh, you want anonymous refs?
I don't want to know you. I want to pretend like you don't exist. And it doesn't mean I want to go to computer referees or any of that stuff because that's impossible. The human element of the game is fine with me. I don't want you being a human being about it, though. Be a referee. That's something different. You're a referee. Your goal is to keep the game fair, to be an arbiter of the rules, not to get your feelings hurt and change the playing field. I'm sorry. I don't care.
So
I don't care how many MFs he dropped.
So from someone like myself,
I don't care if he took your mom out to a nice dinner and then didn't call her after.
So
don't care.
I don't curse. And I'm curious, like, hasn't the weight of these words changed over the years?
Yeah.
You got little kids saying these words now, right? I mean, I don't know if the weight of the words, I don't know if it's a letter of the law thing, but also even considering the fact that, all right, maybe people talk with stronger language than they ever did before, but like, you're telling me Michael Jordan didn't look at whoever it was, Steve Javie in the eye and say, call the foul MFer? And you think he was ever thrown out? I can't get over this.
It's
one technical foul just from saying an expletive, ejected. That blows my mind for anybody. If that happened to Javon Carter, I would be like, what?
In our vernacular, MFer is the same as dude. But if I call you dude, I'm probably more upset with you, and I'm probably closer to doing something physical.
It's not the same when you do it in a menacing yell. I disagree with that. I'm just shocked at this ejection.
It's garbage. Also, Tim Hardaway Jr. got a tech last night for hanging on the rim.
Yeah, he got these hanging on the rims are it's an outbreak.
The refs were involved at the end of the Mavs Lakers game, with just some kind of wild call, and Luka gets a technical for questioning the call. My patience for referees is
Luka
zero.
got a tech against the Grizzlies on Monday for telling Vince Williams Jr., I wish we could just play one-on-one.
What?
Yeah.
Now, Luka's reputation has preceded him. That guy,
they were going at it
from opening whistle to the end.
Vince Williams Jr. and Luka were going at it, and I understand the referees just wanted to get them together and say, "Hey guys, like simmer down," but they just hit Luka with a technical. I mean, you could just say simmer down, can you not?
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
by the way, we're going to start this Vince Williams podcast. VCU Ram.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Amazing.
posting, I posted all kinds of Vince
Hey,
propaganda
if they
on
don't
social
sign
media.
him, if they don't sign him, it's a huge mistake.
Don't
They
get
got
me
to sign him.
started. Anyways,
Got to sign him. Got to sign him and play him. Let him
those were
save the
our
season.
worst things. Dave, you got to take off? Is that your thing? So
Yeah, I got to go. Got to go
right.
shoot some YouTube.
Perfect. Well, Dave, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to land this plane without you.
Oh, all right. I'm going to drop out.
Yeah.
See you
All
guys.
right. See you, buddy. All right. It is now time for the awards segment of the show, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We have several honorable mentions. We have Georges Niang, 0 for 10. Sadiq Bey, 6 for 20. Tumani Kamara, 6 for 20. DeMar DeRozan, 7 for 24. And Nikola Jokic with an amazing 9 for 32. Our three nominees, as they occurred through the last week. We've got some doozies. We've got Michael Porter Jr. in a win against the Hawks. Michael Porter Jr. was 1 for 11 from the field, scored 3 points, had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, and 3 personal fouls. Damian Lillard in a win, an overtime win over the Bulls. He was 3 out of 17 from the field. Finished with 14 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, no steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. And then finally, in regression come to life, Dillon Brooks in a victory over the San Antonio Spurs as the Spurs lost their 17th straight game. Dillon Brooks was 1 for 12. 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers, and 3 personal fouls. Now, my body aches to give this to Dillon Brooks. 1 for 12, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. I guess since it's a 1 for 12, it'll be worse than Michael Porter Jr.'s 1 for 11. So I'm deciding between Damian Lillard's 3 for 17, 14 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, or Dillon Brooks 1 for 12, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. As I sounded out, 3 for 17, pretty bad, but 1 for 12 is atrocious. Only 2 points. He didn't do anything else. Although honestly, 5 rebounds is good for Dillon. Kudos to him. I'm going to give it to Dillon Brooks. Damian Lillard is saved by the 14 points and 9 assists. Congratulations, Dillon Brooks, on winning this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, his first iShop victory as a member of the Houston Rockets. And now, par fadeaway, what thing am I looking forward to? You know it. It is Dillon Brooks facing off with the Memphis Grizzlies 2 times in the next 3 days. Tonight, the Rockets, who are 10-1, host the Grizzlies. Dillon has a chance at getting another taste of vengeance. He's already beaten the Grizzlies once. And then on Friday night, the Grizzlies, who happen to be 1-10 at home, host the Houston Rockets. These are huge games for the Grizzlies as they try to stay alive in the chase for the play-in. They're huge games as they serve out the final remaining 3 games of Ja Morant's suspension. So I'm looking forward to the Rockets and Grizzlies getting it on. Also, thing to look forward to if you're anywhere in the Nashville area, next Tuesday night when Ja Morant returns, Tuesday, December 19th, I'll be hosting a watch party at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville. We'll be giving away Grizzlies prizes. It's an early tip, 6:30 p.m. So if you're anywhere near Nashville, Tennessee, come hang out with me at Noble's Beer Hall. Let's watch Ja Morant play basketball once again. Anyways, thanks for listening to this episode. If you want to support the show, again, patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Remember that promo code FBBF when you sign up over at Underdog Fantasy. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Fast Break Breakfast YouTube channel. Even if you only listen to the audio podcast, do us a favor. Subscribe to the Fast Break Breakfast YouTube channel. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing